Sportscast January 3rd, 2020. If you haven't yet, please subscribe on all our channels, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and review. It will push us up in the categories in sports. We want to take on ESPN. And if you're not, and also visit us on thesportscast.net for the latest and greatest when it comes to sports news. Number 7, Oregon held off number 11, Wisconsin, 28-27 to win its third straight trip to the granddaddy of them all. And join us to talk to us about Duck football. Ty Turner, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Ty Turner, Oregon finished strong. Even though they won the Pac-12, but winning the Rose Bowl was the icing on the cake. What were your thoughts?
Good. And now, where did you get the number 7, number 11? Because they're number 6 and number 8.
Oh, my bad. Wrong.
Where did you get that at?
I think I got it from ESPN UK, and I think they got it wrong. Okay. Sorry about that. Well,
was it the AP maybe?
I think it was the AP, yeah. Yeah, Associated Press. I don't know why they had that.
Okay. Yeah, but it was number 6 and number 8 according to the playoff, which is the only real ranking.
True.
The AP is a bunch of clowns, let's be honest.
That's correct.
But anyways, yeah, it was a great game. It actually literally was a great game.
1-point game.
But actually,
that looked pretty tight.
It was the best. It was probably the best bowl game outside. LSU versus Oklahoma, the college football playoff game, but that was a terrible game.
I can't believe it.
So the best game is Clemson versus Ohio State. I wanted to say that, but probably the second best. Got like this. It was the second highest viewed non-college football playoff game since in the college football playoff era. So there's only been one. I forgot which game it was, but it's the second highest of all time. How they built it up, it was kind of funny. I know me and Justin Riley talked about it in the chat, but they built they did the college football playoff for like weeks, and then they had those games. And then they built the Rose Bowl for like 3 days. I was surprised. I was like, why? They were camping out outside the Rose Bowl and doing all the pregame stuff for other games. And I'm like, wow, they're really building this Rose Bowl game up. And they really did build the game up. It's the Rose Bowl. It's the granddaddy of them all. It was the 105th time of the Rose Bowl. And so they definitely built it up to being this really big game, and it lived up to expectation. It was a great game. If you would have told me the game went if you would have just told me this is how the game went, and you would explain that Wisconsin would have the ball for almost 40 minutes, and Wisconsin would run 72 plays to Oregon's 51. If Wisconsin scored a special teams touchdown, if you would have told me all that, I would be like, Oregon lost. But they didn't lose, and one big caveat to that was if you would have told me Wisconsin turned the ball over 4 times, 3 of the turnovers were in their own territory, 1 of the turnovers was returned for a touchdown, I would have been like, geez, Oregon destroyed them. So it was such a dichotomy or ironic game. I mean, Wisconsin controlled time of possession, but did all the turnovers, and Wisconsin had the special teams touchdown. It was just, I think you play that game like 10 times, and it wouldn't go like that again. It was just an odd, how the game went was very odd, and basically it just came down to which team would make the last play, which team in the end would be the team to make the least amount of mistakes. And the play, Wisconsin made more mistakes. They had a big fumble in their own territory in the fourth quarter, and Oregon made the last play. Justin Herbert scored on a 30-yard scamper in the fourth quarter, and that was the game. So it was a very interesting game. Like I said, if they played it 10 times, it would not go like that again.
And Justin Herbert had 3 rushing touchdowns, right?
Yep, he did. He went. Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert. You don't think of them as running quarterbacks.
Not at all.
Both of them in the Fiesta and the Rose Bowl. Basically, they didn't pass a whole lot; they ran a lot. So it was pretty funny.
Herbert had only 10 rushing touchdowns in the first 41 starts of his career. He turned into a big play ball carrier on Arroyo Seco's hallowed ground, and Oregon improbably relied on its quarterback's long legs to grind out a landmark victory under second-year head coach Mario Cristobal, Herbert's third coach in 4 years. What were your thoughts about Herbert's performance?
You know, like I said, it's such a weird game. Only 51 offensive plays. He threw the ball 20 times. He had one bad pass that got intercepted. Other than that, 14 for 20, not bad. He had 3 bad drops. His tight end, Hunter Campoy, really did not play very well. He had a couple of really bad drops. And then he had 3 rushing touchdowns. I thought Justin Herbert played pretty well. I actually thought Justin Herbert the last 2 games of the season played pretty well. I think at the end of the day, I don't think there's a couple things. I think he's still inconsistent. He just is inconsistent. I followed him throughout his whole career. He can be inconsistent. And I also don't think the offensive system that Mario Cristobal wants to run is necessarily the best system for Herbert. He's a guy that, really kind of easy passes and keep the ball, like a less complex system, a more simplistic system. I think he'd be more beneficial in. A system that just kind of says, hey, use the abilities that you have instead of kind of remain in the scheme. I just don't think it's a great system for him, but I also think he's inconsistent. I do think that Justin Herbert at times, takes a sack. I mean, he did it a couple times in the game where he took a sack that you're like, throw the ball away, but he didn't. He just took a sack. And there was I think it was a late third or early fourth quarter. They had the ball 3rd and short at like the Wisconsin 35. They probably, if they didn't get first down, they probably were going to go for it on like 4th and short. Herbert took a 10-yard sack. And it's kind of stuff he does. And then there's also times where he'll throw 4 or 5 incompletions, or even an interception where he basically, he's 6'6", and he threw the ball right into the tackle's arm. I don't even know how he could do that at 6'6". But that goal, when it came down to it, he made a couple of really good plays, and they were with his legs. The 3 touchdowns on the ground and the game-winning 30-yard touchdown. And what Herbert is a great athlete. What he is 6'6", 240 pounds with a rocket arm, and he's very athletic. Probably going to run a sub-4.7 at the 40 at the combine. And what he is a great athlete. What he is a guy that that's who he is. And at the end of the day, they were 12. At the end of the day, they're Pac-12 champions. At the end of the day, they're Rose Bowl champions. They'll probably finish 4th or 5th in the final poll when it's all said and done. And he had a great year. It was a good year for Herbert. Do I think he still has his skeptics? Well, I know he does. When it comes to the NFL scouts, well, I know. I follow them, and there's some skeptics.
What are they saying? What are NFL scouts saying about Herbert right now? Where is his stock?
Well, he's going to go in the first round.
Yeah.
So I'm a spoiler alert. He's going to go in the first round. That's what's going to happen. He's a great athlete. He's one of the best arms in college football. He's fast. He's elusive. That's a positive. Another positive is his character. He's a 4.0 student. He's really well liked by his teammates and coaches.
Thank you very much.
See you later, man. I'll see you, buddy. Sorry. Pause him. But he's really well liked by his really well liked by his coaches. He's well liked by the community. Even his story of how he won was like the hometown kid scores on that started his career with a 4-8 team, played for 3 different coaches. Hold on one second.
Which actually, I've been reading an article. Was reading an article that Herbert typically. Herbert does not have the typical quarterback personality. He's a very introvert person. I'm not sure if you heard that about him.
Yep. Well, and that's kind of a negative on him.
Yeah.
So so the positive here, I'll list 3-4 positives. I'll list 3-4 negatives from the NFL scouting community, and even what I would say it's accurate. 3-4 positives He's a great athlete. He has every measurable you want in a quarterback. 6'6", 240, strong arm, mobile, everything. Okay, that's a positive. Number 2, he has great character. He's a 4.1 student. He won the Campbell Award, which was for student athlete, football player that was the most outstanding in regards to academics and extracurricular activities. So he's great character. That's number 2. Number 3, I don't know. So 2, great athlete, great measurables. Okay, great athlete, great measurables, great character. Those are the positives. The negatives. Number 1, he's inconsistent. Throughout all this career, he's had times where he's just been inconsistent. You saw that in the second half against Auburn. You saw that in the Arizona State game. You saw that at times in games against Washington State, where he will just either be inaccurate, or he will have baffling turnovers, or he'll take sacks that puts his team in bad positions, or he'll throw a Hail Mary at the end of the game through the end zone and not give anyone a chance. Those are the negatives of Herbert. That's number 1, inconsistent. Number 2, he's very introverted. He's to himself, and he's kind of aloof. I mean, I remember it was during the Arizona State game where there was a camera view of him on the sidelines, completely away from the rest of his teammates. And it's like, this is a game where they needed him. They needed him to step up and say, hey, guys, we're going to come back and win this. But he's like way far away. I mean, I was watching from the camera view, and I remember I talked about it, and he's completely separated. Well, that's not going to be well liked in the NFL. NFL wants a guy that can lead. They want the Tom Brady, the Aaron Rodgers, the Peyton Manning, the Brett, that gets his teammates riled up and gets in their face and says, we can come back and win this. They want a little bit of that, not some guy that's like way off to himself. And there's a leading by example, and then there's just being completely aloof. So that's the negatives. At the end of the day, I think he will be, well, I still think Tua leaves. I know Justin doesn't want to hear that, but I still think Tua leaves. I think, if Tua didn't have the injury, I think Tua would be drafted first. I think he's just more consistent, a better vocal leader. I think they'll draft Tua before Herbert. But the injuries for Tua, he's small too. Small and injury prone. I think Herbert goes before him. Obviously, if Tua does come back, then this is completely irrelevant. But I think Herbert's either the second or third guy drafted. It sounds like there's going to be 3 or 4 guys that go in the first round. First pick will be Joe Burrow. He'll go to the Bengals, who suck. And then I think I think Herbert goes top 10. I don't know where in the top 10. Where are the Chargers picking?
Wow. Let me see. Let me look that up.
For some reason, I got a feeling he goes there. There's just a lot. Philip Rivers is old. They need a quarterback. He's a West Coast kid.
They're projecting him. The projected Chargers to go 6 in the NFL draft order.
Chargers are 6. Okay, well that's I actually think that the San Diego Chargers, and this is early, and we're going to do a bunch of draft breakdown. That's one of our things for our website.
Big show, yeah, absolutely.
But
as well.
Early on, I could totally see him going to the Chargers. He's a West Coast kid. They need a quarterback. I could see them, he could sit for a year, maybe 2 behind Philip Rivers and kind of learn from him. Also, Rivers is very vocal, but Rivers is also very, kind of a conservative, he's married with 7 kids and is kind of a straight-laced guy. Herbert's kind of like that, too. So, I could see them meshing well, but Rivers is very vocal and very strong personality, and I could see him, really encouraging Herbert and really teaching him the ropes of how to be a professional quarterback. And he's a West Coast kid. He would be not that far from where he's from. They just played in L.A., They just played in the Rose Bowl. They played USC. They play in LA every single year in Oregon. I just think that would be a perfect place for him to go. And I think the Chargers are going to maybe draft a quarterback. And I think that they could say, hey, this is the guy that could sit for a year behind. And I would actually like, because it's a funny story, my second favorite team to the Packers is the Chargers.
Why?
Yeah, LaDainian Tomlinson was my favorite player growing up.
DT.
So yeah, so that'd actually be awesome if you went to the Chargers.
Well,
So
keep in mind, Brady could go to the Chargers, I've heard. So
I have heard that, but why would they go draft? Okay, so they're going to get rid of Rivers and go get a 43-year-old quarterback. Well, still they could draft a quarterback because Brady will only be around for like 2 years.
Correct.
So then he learns under Brady, even though I'd rather him learn under Rivers. But anyways, yeah, whatever. I think he goes there. I think you could also possibly look at the Lions drafting a quarterback. I think the Panthers could draft a quarterback. Especially if Newton heads out of town, which I think is a pretty good possibility. I think who else is going to draft a quarterback?
You got
Dolphins. Good.
Yeah, Dolphins, of course. I will take Herbert.
Well, Cincinnati are going to. Cincinnati are going to draft a quarterback, and the quarterback is going to be Joe Burrow.
Of course, Chase Young will probably be in the mix in the top 5 somewhere. So.
Oh, Chase Young's going to be the second pick.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to go by the draft, I think that's like you got Chase Young, Jeffrey Okudu. I could see Shane Wade. I could see several Buckeyes going up there, and so it's gonna be a fun draft. But anyways, moral of the story is Justin Herbert played a pretty good game. I think he didn't hurt his draft stock.
Not at all.
I mean, the last two games where he won the Pac-12 title and he won the Rose Bowl. In the Pac-12 title game, he played very well. In the Rose Bowl, he had the game-winning play.
He solidified his draft stock.
Yeah, because he had kind of been falling a little bit. So, I think he actually probably, after a couple of bad performances where he might have been the reason, like against Arizona State, I think Herbert was the reason why they lost the game. Now, the defense didn't help and overall how the team played that game, but I thought Herbert was a major reason why they lost the game. So, he needed to respond. He needed to respond by winning the Pac-12 and the Rose Bowl.
Question from the comments. They're asking, is Justin Herbert like Josh Allen?
He gets compared to him a lot. I don't think so. No, I don't, actually. A couple things. I actually think that more of that take ownership kind of alpha personality is Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a little more of like that blue-collar kind of guy, and Herbert's not. I think where the comparisons are is the fact that they're both 6'6". They both have very strong arms. They're both good athletes. Remember, Allen's a pretty good athlete. He by far tested the best at the combine the year he was coming out. But no, I think the personalities are very different. I think Allen's a lot more vocal. I think Allen's a lot more of kind of a blue-collar, he'll run you over kind of guy. I just think their athleticism, yes. Athletically, they're very similar. I actually think Herbert might be a better athlete. I think Herbert actually might be faster. I think he's going to run even better. I think he actually might even... Allen might have a stronger arm. I don't know. Herbert has a pretty strong arm. I don't know. People compare them a lot. I don't think. I think Herbert's actually more accurate. That's another thing. I actually think Herbert's the more accurate passer, and I think Herbert's a little better athlete. But I think that Josh Allen has a little more of a blue-collar, tough personality.
Early signing happened.
Who would I?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I would maybe talk. And one more thing. So we're going to talk. Are we done with Oregon, or do you want me to say? Can I say one more thing?
One more thing on Oregon. Last thing for the year. I mean, for the season, I guess.
The year. Yep. The big thing was Oregon. I think Oregon achieved. When I look back at this Oregon season, and Obviously, I invested a lot of time following Oregon. I think it was a successful season. I know Oregon didn't make the college football playoff, but they were 12-2. They won the Pac-12. They won the Rose Bowl. This program is definitely on the upward trajectory. And honestly, they were not going to beat LSU this year. And I'm the most competitive person probably. If you meet someone, there's very few people more competitive than me. It's what made me any success I had in sports was mostly because of my competitiveness. And I actually kind of am glad they didn't make the playoffs because they weren't going to beat LSU this year.
Could they have done better than Oklahoma?
Maybe very little. I mean, they would have lost. And their last impression would have been getting beaten pretty badly by LSU. While instead, they're Rose Bowl champions, and they have this riveted victory. And they're this program on the rise. It's going to have top 15 talent that has a ton of studs, especially on defense. Oregon is definitely one of the better brands now in football. And I think people get mad all they want from the West Coast, but I think Oregon runs the Pac-12. And I think they're going to run the Pac-12 for the foreseeable future. And over the last decade, no one's won more Pac-12 titles. No one's played more national titles. No other team's had a Heisman Trophy winner, and they're just getting better. So USC, Washington, Utah, Stanford, good programs, but you're Oregon's baby right now.
This is Oregon's decade.
Yeah, and I think the next decade is going to be Oregon. And I think if anyone is going to be going to the playoffs and any team in the Pac-12 is going to be competing for national titles, it's going to be the Ducks.
Of course.
In the Pac-12.
Of course, the Ducks finish off winning the Pac-12 against I don't want to say favorite Utah, but Utah definitely had some momentum, but Oregon had the talent. And speaking about talent, what comes behind talent is recruiting. And early signing day happened on December 18th. We couldn't have a chance to cover it because of business and Christmas. But Tyler, what were your thoughts about early signing day of 2019?
Well, this is the third year for early signing day. You know that I follow recruiting really closely. Every year it's gone up about 10%. I think it was like 65% of guys signed the first year. The second year is like 75%, and this year is like almost 85% of the PSA signed. So pretty much that takes over 4/5 of the guys off the market. So if you don't have your guys committed, good luck trying to find guys in the late signing period. If you want me to talk specifically about Oregon, because that's my team, Oregon currently has the number 12 class. They have the number 1 class in the Pac-12. If it finishes that way, it'll be their third top 15 class in a row. It will be their second straight top Pac-12 class. I think, I do my team talent formula. I'll be filling it out right now. Oregon probably is going to land in the 13 to 14 range nationally for talent on their roster next season. So that's top 15. That's kind of where you want to be to really compete for that college football playoff. So Oregon's in a good spot. The 3 best players they landed, the 3 top 100 guys, are all on defense. Linebackers Justin Flo out of California, Noah Sewell, younger brother of All-American Outland Trophy winner Penei Sewell out of Utah, and then Dante Manning, top 100 corner out of Raytown, Missouri. And I think Oregon's just continuing on defense. Oregon's definitely turned into a defensive school. They had a top 15 defense this year in pretty much every statistical category. I think they're top 10 next year. I think they're a top 10 defense nationally and by far the best defense in the Pac-12. I cover all recruiting, so nationally, the number 1, right now Clemson has the best class. I think Georgia finishes with the best class. I think Georgia finishes with 5-star Keely Ringo and 5-star Zach Evans. So I actually think when all said and done, Georgia will have the best class. And I think going into next year, Georgia will have the most talented roster in college football. That being said, I don't know. I don't think Kirby Smart has quite lived up to the amount of talent he has in his roster, but we'll see. We'll give him another chance, right?
That's right.
Clemson had a great class. They will be moving into the top 5, and obviously they have perhaps the best program in college football. Alabama is sitting there at number 2 right now. They're going to continue to have one of the most talented rosters in college football. I think number 4 is Ohio State. They're going to continue. Now, Ohio State probably more so than anyone else is going to lose the most players to the draft. They've already lost Chase Young, Jeffrey Okodu, J.K. Dobbins. They might lose Sean Wade. So they're actually going to probably, defensively at least, take a little bit of a hit, but they're, again, recruiting at an extremely high level. They have, if you saw my last team talent formula, Ohio State by the end of this year had the most talented roster in college football. I don't think they'll be number 1 come next year. They'll probably be about 3. LSU, who I think wins the Natty. I think LSU wins the Natty. That's my prediction. I think they're number 5 right now. They're going to stay in the top 5, I think, in regards to talent. Teams that didn't do well. There's a couple others that did well. Florida right now has the number 7 class, and Texas A&M has the number 6 class. Both those teams have done a lot to really add talent to the roster. I expect them both to be top 10-ish talent next year. So look at Florida and Texas A&M. I don't trust Jimbo Fisher quite as much. Look what he ended up doing at Florida State. He kind of ran the program to the ground and took off. And his first 2 years at Texas A&M haven't been super impressive. But Dan Mullen, I think he's one of the best coaches in college football. And you now give him top 10 talent. If he can continue to get elite quarterback play from a guy, or very good quarterback play from a guy like Kyle Trask, keep an eye. He's one of the great coaches, I think, Dan Mullen. Now, there is rumors he likes the NFL a little bit. We'll see about that.
Cowboys.
And then, now, who didn't do well at all? USC. USC currently has the number 79th ranked class. They have the worst class in the Pac-12.
That's a big drop.
And the thing is, there's not enough guys to, come back. I don't think USC is going to finish with a top 50 class. And that's just, crazy. According to my formula, USC has the 5th most talented roster this year. They won't next year. Next year, they're going to definitely drop, I think, outside the top 10. And once some of these guys graduate, if they don't turn this around, for one, Helton will get fired. I mean, I know they kept him this year, but eventually he's going to get canned for not recruiting well. And the guy who takes over for him is going to have a dearth of talent. So USC is a program that's not in a good trajectory. And Florida State, it's too bad what happened. First Fisher left, and then bad things happened with Willie Taggart. And
he's now with FAU.
They've had a lot of attrition. Several guys transferred out. Early entries to the draft, and not very good recruiting class up to their standard last year and even this year. I think they were in my top 10 as far as talent, and they're in the top 10 according to 247 Team Talent Closet. I look at Florida State's probably going to drop outside the top 15, so they're going to have one of the bigger drops. And Miami's having a lot of guys transfer.
Tell me about
and their class did not finish up to the standard that they wanted to and looked like it was going to be. I don't think they're going to finish strong. I feel bad that I think Manny Diaz was over his head when he took the job. His roster management is not very good. He has 70, 75 at most, maybe 70 guys on scholarship. He took too many transfers. I don't know. Weird roster. I got a feeling it's going to be 3 years, and Diaz is going to find himself maybe without a job.
Plus, he fired Enos too, Danny Enos. On top of that,
yeah.
How did Arizona State do?
Good. Arizona State's doing good. Arizona State landed 3 top 100 and 3 other blue chip skill guys, wide receivers or running backs on signing day, and I think they're going to land L.V. Bunkley Shelton, which is a 4-star wide receiver at the All-American game on Saturday. I think Arizona State's going to finish with a top 25 class. I think they're going to land the most top 50 players in California of anyone. So actually, Arizona State's doing pretty good. Herm Edwards definitely has some momentum on his side, and there's at least that perception that they're doing well. And they also, in the national game of the week against Oregon, they beat them. They upset them. And so I like the trajectory of Arizona State. I like the trajectory of North Carolina. Mac Brown landed a top 20 class. I think you could also, Georgia Tech. Now, one of the top guys that they signed died. He committed suicide.
Yeah,
so that's kind of a sad story. Yeah. But they still, top 25-ish class. Who's another person who had a good class? Washington, the Huskies, of course, Peterson left, but Jimmy Lake took over. They currently have a top 15 class. I would look at them to stay around that range, and they're probably going to have top 20 talent going into next year. I think it wasn't great that Jacob Eason left because the rest of their quarterbacks are inexperienced and are like in that freshman range. So I would probably say going into next year, look for Oregon to be favored again, despite losing Herbert and 4 of their starters on the offensive line. I think Oregon will be the favorite in the Pac-12, and the rest you can you go into next year, Oregon and Pac-12, and then pretty much you can already name the favorites in all the other conferences. But the teams to really watch, if you want my opinion, Pac-12, Arizona State, they're increasing their talent. ACC, North Carolina. Big Ten, Nebraska. I know Nebraska didn't have a good year, but they're landing their 3rd straight top 25 class. They have a top 20 class again. And I think eventually Scott Frost is too good a coach that this talent's going to start playing up to its baseline. And I look for Nebraska maybe underachieve this year at 5-7. Look for them to be better next year. And I think they're on the upward trajectory, whether their record showed it or not. In the Big Ten, so Big Ten, Nebraska, ACC, North Carolina, SEC, Florida. I would say Florida. I think Florida is the team that's been good. Like Dan Mullen won 10 games and won a New Year's Six game last year. This year he won 11 games, won a New Year's Six game. And now they have top 10 talent. I think Florida is on the upswing. The Big 12, I think the Big 12 is not a good conference. And I think the 1-5 conference record said a lot. And Oklahoma is the best team in the conference, and I think for the foreseeable future they'll continue to be. But you look at Oklahoma's problem, it's on defense, and it's
pretty much a no defense.
They're not recruiting defensive guys very well.
Why is that, Tyler? Is that just on purpose, or they just can't get those guys?
No, I just don't think. I think the culture. It's right now. It's Lincoln Riley. It's an offensive school, and I think the defensive guys are like, oh, I want to go to a team that plays good defense.
True.
And I just think that's how it's going, and I don't see Oklahoma getting the defensive players necessary to compete against Alabama, to compete against Clemson, to compete against Georgia.
LSU.
So I don't love the trajectory of the Big 12 because, you have Texas, but Texas consistently underachieves their talent, and then no one else has top 25 talent. And Baylor, Matt Rule's a terrific coach. He's done a great job. I think he leaves.
He's going to the Giants, maybe.
Matt Rule is good. I think he's going. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's going to the Giants. I just think that conference is kind of stuck with one-trick pony in Oklahoma, and I think they're going to continue to win it. And I just don't think anyone else is that good.
Conference
culture. In the foreseeable future, Clemson's going to dominate the ACC. Spoiler alert. You're going to have a bunch of talented teams in the SEC, but I think you're going to have to look to Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and LSU. In the Big Ten, Ohio State's a tough pony. But Penn State, once again, they have a top 15 class. You know, they have really good defense this year, and they bring a lot of those guys back. I think they have some real good playmakers at running back, especially on offense, and good offensive line. Look for Penn State. If someone's going to beat Ohio State next year, look at Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State
I like what they're doing there. And then, call me a homer or not, I think Oregon's going to roll the pack. I think they're only getting better, and I think they're recruiting extremely well on defense. The only thing I'm a little worried about is they're replacing, a 4-year starter. I think Tyler Shuck has the possibility to be good, but still an unknown. The offensive coordinator took a head coaching job. Marcus Arroyo went to UNLV. So I think the offense is a little bit of a question mark. I don't think that the offense the 2 years under Cristobal has been great. I think it's been
decent,
solid. It's been a top 25 offense. They were top 25 in most statistical areas this year, but it's not great. And I think the offense is the thing you have to, which is so weird, right? When you think of Oregon, you think offense. But I still like the directory of the program. I think Cristobal has done a great job of getting the culture in place. He's recruiting like a madman.
Doing a great job.
I think Oregon could be a team that's in the playoffs several times in the next 2 years.
Now, Oregon recruited 2 quarterbacks, right?
Yep. They recruited consensus 4-star Jay Butterfield and 4-star Under Armour All-American Robbie Ashford. I saw the All-American game yesterday. Ashford played in it, and he did not look good. He's a very good athlete. He's a dual sport guy. He's actually probably going to get drafted in baseball, and he's going to play baseball for Oregon. But I don't think he's great passer right now. He's very inaccurate. He's a good athlete, though. He can run well.
That they were interested in a grad transfer from Wake Forest or something.
Yeah, Jamie Newman. And they're actually, I guess they're considered the favorite. And he might go there. I'm telling you right now, Tyler Shuck, he was an Elite 11 guy, consensus 4-star. I've seen him play in 2 spring games. I saw him play in 4 or 5 games this year. He came in against USC when Herbert went out. He's pretty good. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's pretty fat. He's a pretty good athlete. He runs pretty well, and he's very accurate.
So you think he'll be the starter next season?
He did play. Yeah, he completed like 80% of his passes in his. If you combine stats between the spring games and the 4 or 5 games he played in. And even the USC game was still in doubt. It wasn't like all garbage time. There was 1 against 1. He led them down the field, and they actually I think they scored a touchdown.
Not bad.
If not, they're about ready to score a touchdown. No, he's pretty good. He's maybe that Newman guy would come in, but he's pretty good. I think people are going to be a little surprised because I think Oregon probably comes into the season borderline top 10, but when they see Shuck, they're probably going to be like, well, maybe rate them a little higher. Because I think he's pretty good.
All right. That is the early recruitment signing update. We have obviously one more in February for the late signing, but according to Tyler, it's pretty much all said and done. Obviously, there's just a few teams looking for that last one player to be the cherry on top. So We'll definitely keep it. We'll keep you guys up to date till February. College football is exciting, like we were talking about in the chat. College recruiting is 65% like the battle. When it comes to college football, a lot of this is very important. Not just the coaching, the players that you get. Obviously, the coaching has to live up to it as well. So they got to pair up.
The proof is in the pudding. If you don't have go back to it, the team talent composite started in 2015, where they take the baseline talent of every roster, and the 5 years it's been in it. Since its inception, 16 of the 20 teams have had top 15 talent, and every team has had at least top 25 talent. So,
it translates.
You just have to have the guys, otherwise it's impossible.
Yeah,
get there.
Exactly. Question from the Facebook: if Saban retires soon, is Mario Cristobal a prospect for Alabama?
You know what? That's funny you said that. Really? That's really who asked that?
Justin Riley, if you're not surprised.
Okay. No, I was actually going to mention that today. I didn't even know they want Cristobal.
I bet they do.
They do. I didn't know that. I happened to be on Alabama boards, and they were saying it's Saban, and they pretty much almost every guy was like their first choice was Mario Cristobal. I was not aware that they wanted him so bad. So yeah, I believe he would be their number one spot. Do I think he totally would take it? No.
Wow.
You're following a freak. You're following a legend.
True.
You're following one of the most. You're following arguably the most successful coach in college football history. That is not easy.
Hard to live up to.
That is extremely hard to live up to. So I don't know, and because there's been rumors that he might go to Miami. He's not going to Miami.
Miami looks toxic.
Oregon's a better program. No, right now Oregon's a better program. They have better facilities.
And Miami had their chance a year ago. They should have spilled out their money. Mario, come. But
supposedly they did, and he wasn't interested.
Interesting.
From the people inside Oregon, supposedly they actually did reach out, and the rumors were that he actually said no.
He's focused with Oregon.
Because Oregon is in look at what he has in the Pac-12. He's the best team right now. Oregon's the best team in the Pac-12. Who else is he? Who else? He's not competing with anyone else.
No.
If you go back to the ACC, you have to go against Clemson.
Yeah, that's not
easy.
So
why not? And Oregon has they have the richest donor in probably, they have the richest donor in America, Phil Knight.
Phil Knight, yeah.
So he will give them all the money and they're the best facilities, them and Clemson probably. It's always 1 and 2 between them. And they have, innovative staff and innovative equipment and tons of money, and they're the main team in the Pac-12 right now. So for him to leave, it'd have to be a better situation, and they'd have to pay him more. And right now, a team like Alabama probably could, but then you're following a legend. You're literally following one of the most successful coaches in college football history. That's a tough job.
That is a tough job. Yeah.
Now the thing is, if Saban left right now, he'd be leaving one of the most talented rosters in college football. So you would know that you would be playing with that talent for a couple of years, which would be kind of nice. I don't know. We'll see.
It's up in the air. Obviously.
Riley wants.
Maybe he does. I don't know. We're gonna have to ask him later. But I know Nick Saban doesn't. He looks like he's fine, and I think he's going to coach for at least 4 or 5 more years. But there's a whole different podcast to talk about. He won the Citrus Bowl, so he's pretty excited about that. Joe Moorhead got fired by Mississippi State. And I believe he got an extension a couple of weeks ago. What were your thoughts about that?
You know what? That was kind of an odd situation because I actually heard they didn't really like Moorhead, and then they gave him an extension. I was kind of like, okay, and then they ended up firing him. I don't know exactly what went on. It's because I feel kind of bad for the kids because remember early signing day they signed, and now that coach that they signed to is gone.
That's not cool.
I don't know. Not a great situation, in my opinion. And I don't. Who are they going to get? Who are their candidates? I haven't even looked at it.
I have not even. Tapped into that.
Because all the good. Yeah, because you think
Jason Garrett,
Norvell, obviously with the. I heard Garrett's name for some team actually.
Was it college or was it professional?
So it was NFL. I think it was actually the Giants. Even though I'm pretty convinced that I think the Giants hire Rule.
Yeah, but, they really like, and Rule wants to be in the Giants. I heard too.
We haven't even talked about it, but Dallas Cowboys obviously opened up.
Slowly.
You have to wonder if Lincoln Riley goes there.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that is a possibility.
Yeah,
and will Riley take on it? Because think about it, you're going to have to deal with Jerry Jones head to head. Hey, this is my team.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Who takes control?
Yeah.
Because Jerry Jones is the micromanager.
Yeah, I don't know if Riley wants that. I don't know though. Yeah.
Because Jerry
You
Jones
just
hires
have to
the offensive
wonder,
coordinators, not the coach. For some reason, he does a lot of micromanaging. But
He
anyways,
does if you want that situation.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
that's
I don't
awkward.
know who back to Joel Moorhead. I don't know who Mississippi State's going to hire. That's a really weird situation.
That's not good.
I don't even know if I'd want to go into it. I don't think that's one of the better jobs in the SEC. I think it's one of the worst jobs in the SEC. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to who they hire.
Yeah, me too. Anyways, due to time, we're going to head to game predictions. Are you ready?
Got it.
Let's go. The Bills at the Texans.
I'm going to go Texans. I'm not loving how Texans are playing, and I like a lot of things the Bills are doing, but it is in J.J. Watt's back. It's in Houston. I'm going to go the Texans. I also really like Deshaun Watson, but I don't know. They didn't finish the year very strong. You never liked that. But
Yeah.
I'll go Texans.
Tennessee Titans at the New England Patriots.
In New England, again, didn't finish the year strong at all either.
Yeah, a little weird.
But I think they're better than the Titans, so I'm going to go New England. But I'm not going New England for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, me either, man. It looks like a long uphill battle.
Yeah, I don't think they win the Super Bowl here.
Minnesota Vikings at the New Orleans Saints.
Saints, Vikings, another. Like, a lot of these teams came limping into the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Like the
Like,
Eagles.
so many of these teams, lost 2, 3, 4 games at the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going Saints. Saints are pretty good.
Seattle
I can't
Seahawks.
believe they didn't get a bye.
Yeah. Seattle Seahawks at the Philadelphia Eagles.
The Seahawks limped into the playoffs.
No,
They're
they
not
just
playing
lost their
very
last
well. And-
game. That's it. I think they.
They lost the last couple of games. No, they lost the last 2 games.
I think they were just like three.
And
With 3 to 4 losses, but it wasn't too bad. I thought.
But they lost them all towards the end of the year. They were in position to possibly win the division and get a home field advantage, and then they lost a couple games at the end.
Oh, that's right. They lost
and
against the Cardinals.
having a-
You're right. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the Niners.
So
Oof,
I
weird.
don't. I'm gonna go Eagles at home. I
Wow.
don't think the Eagles are a great team, but I'm gonna go Eagles at home.
That might be the upset of the weekend if that happens.
Yep. And then my Packers. I can't believe it. They almost got home field advantage. They're 1 yard away from home field advantage, but they got a first round bye.
Looking good.
That was yeah.
All those years.
I'm a Packer fan. I don't think they're that great. I think they have very inconsistent offense. I don't think Rodgers had his best year. But hey, 13-3, whatever.
Matt LaFleur, good for his first year. I mean, what if he came earlier, like
Yeah,
5 years
defense.
ago? You know?
Yeah, and that defense. I really like that defense, man. I like how they, explosive plays, forcing turnovers, good in the red zone, getting after the quarterback. I've liked the defense a lot more than the offense.
Well, there you have it. That is our game predictions. We'll be posting it on the website by tonight or by tomorrow morning. Tyler, what is the best way for people to reach you to talk to you about Mario Cristobal's recruiting strategies?
At TurnerCast. And yeah, be keeping a lookout after the next signing day and after guys declare and people transfer and stuff. I'll be doing my 2020 team talent formula.
Are we going to see any type of major major recruitment, or we're going to see any teams moving up, or we're going to see the same list what we see now?
Do I think the top 25 is going to be the same as it was in 2019?
Yeah.
Is that no? I mean, there's not going to be a
Major move.
talent if you're like I said, a team like Florida who is 16 this year, I think they might go up to the top 10. I think that USC, who is number 4, I think they're going to fall out. I think Florida State, who is number 8, I'm doing this all off the top of my head, I think they're going to be outside the top 15. Oregon continuing to do well. I think they're going to get inside the top 15. I think they're going to land at 14, maybe 13. And a couple teams that might get into the top 25. And again, I haven't done the numbers yet. Maybe Arizona State and maybe North Carolina.
Interesting.
I think there are two teams that they might have top 25 talent next year on the roster.
Good for North Carolina. Glad there's some new team, new faces coming into this recruitment game. So
yeah. He's doing a good job recruiting. He's doing a good job recruiting.
It's not easy. It's not really. You got to go into the back roads a little bit and try to persuade these players. I'm not sure what type of persuasion they got to do, but you got to make it happen.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's hard. You should see if you follow really closely, which you don't as much as me. It's like they'll be like going until the very hour the guys announcing. There's guys that flip like last second. It's crazy.
Imagine you get a call from Nick Saban out of nowhere.
Crazy. No, I mean like you have like even Oregon's class at early signing day, like 3 of their top recruits flipped. Luckily, we ended up getting 5-star Justin Flo and top 100 4-star Dante Manning, but we lost Avonte Williams, top 100 player. We lost Johnny Wilson, top 100 player, and Miles Slusher, 4-star. We lost all 3 of those guys in a 1-week period, including 2 of them on signing day. So, I mean, it's frustrating. You can go from having a top 10 class to not even having a top 20 class within like 1 day,
or within seconds.
Within seconds, yeah. I mean, you could lose 2 guys that were highly rated that really affect your score, and you could go from having a number 9 class to having a number like 18 class in a matter of like a couple hours.
Pretty.
I mean, I'm like, how did these coaches manage? He's so freaking pissed off.
Pretty shaky.
You're committed. Yeah, you're committed to me for like 6 months or a year. Avonte Williams was committed to the Ducks for 1 year, and he decommitted a week before signing day.
Tough love.
Yeah.
Of course, you can follow the Team Town formula that Tyler will be posting, his updated post on thesportscast.net, and follow us on Twitter at thesportscast1. We'll be live tweeting the NFL playoffs this weekend. Pretty exciting to see football continue through January, and of course, the college football playoff championship game will happen in a week and a half. I actually in a week this Monday, so we'll be previewing that game in the next couple of days. Well, anyways, that's it for the first episode of Tyler Turner of 2020. I appreciate you coming on to the Sportscast.
I did. See you later.